the news that came out last week and then over the weekend, we were able to digest it, has everything to do with the tariff proposals. 25% on Canada, 25% on Mexico, 10% on China. And one has to wonder what the intent of the tariffs are. We hear national security. We got to stop the flow of drugs from Canada, and
that's where the good drugs come from.
Right, I think it's 1%? I think of fentanyl seized came from Canada, something like that. And we got to stop illegal immigration from Canada.
Yes, lots of that coming in too.
So this obviously was set, I think, to can I say better a negotiating position?
I think so, but what is it we're trying to get exactly? That's the part I don't understand. I think it's absolutely a negotiating position, and Trump's supposed to be this big deal maker, but what he is he acts like a bully, right? So he says, we're going to do this unless you give me what I want. But the question here, Chris, is what does he want?
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people get a little bit lost in all of this. We don't know. I would say that he's been somewhat inarticulate with what it is that he's after, especially in the case of Canada. When it comes to Mexico, I think we know has everything to do with immigration.
Right.
Is that fair?
And fentanyl coming into the country across the border.
Yeah.
So I would agree with that, yes. And he thinks that Mexico's not doing enough to stop either one.
When it comes to Canada, though, the numbers don't really...
No.
They don't really play out. So when he says we're going to impose a 25% tariff on Canada because they're responsible for 1% of fentanyl coming across the border, 1% of illegal immigration that crosses the border, I don't know that a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods, with the exception of energy, by the way, which I think was very strategic because he didn't want the price at the pump to go up because that would really turn some people off.
Yeah.
I think all of a sudden we're left wondering, what is the goal? Is the goal, as he said on his social media, Canada, you got to give it up and just become a 51st state?
Yeah. But and by the way, why would Canada be one state? It's huge. If we were going to do that, wouldn't it be like 15 or 30 states? I mean, it's gigantic.
Yeah.
But I have to say, this is typical Trump, right, Chris? I mean, Trump creates the crisis. We have a crisis, and now I'm going to solve the crisis, and I'll do it in the next 15 or 20 minutes. I mean, that's basically what this is. And we saw that with Mexico today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Mexico, he's already now postponed the Mexico tariff instead of starting tomorrow at 25%, 30 days delay, because he had a conversation with the Mexican president, and she agreed to give him 10,000 troops, 10,000 additional soldiers, Mexican soldiers at the border.
Yeah.
And that was it. Now, you know the rest of this. In 2021, President Biden said we need more help at the border, and they gave the U.S. 10,000 troops on their side of the border. It's the exact same thing. So Trump got nothing. There's nothing.
Well,
but he gets to say, I got what I wanted.
Let me argue with you for a moment because talk radio. So we say Biden did it and it didn't cost us anything. Trump did it, he got nothing. But he got the win. I mean, if there's one thing he's really good at, it's taking credit for things. And he's able to say, you hired me to be the president who was going to take it to Mexico and curtail illegal immigration. And look, I strong-armed them in a very public way, and I did. And as a result, we got what we wanted. And so he's able to say, that's a win for me.
He can, but again, he's creating his own win. Right, so it's...
Well, but he did, and Biden didn't, and we look back and we go, what did Biden ever do when he was president?
Well, Biden got the same thing. It wasn't effective, is my point. It didn't change anything. Here's the test. Let's make a note. 6 months from now, a year from now, let me know if there's less fentanyl coming into the United States.
Okay.
If nothing else happens, let's see if this actually changes anything. The answer is it won't. So we have to change our policies in the United States. We have to change our immigration laws. We really want to slow down the amount of people coming into our country illegally or coming here and asking for asylum. It's not going to happen because of this stuff. And this is the Canada part of this is what makes it so obvious. If this was real, if there was something we really needed from Canada or Mexico to make immigration slow and to make the draw of fentanyl, make that less coming into the United States, then we would have a plan and we would see these are the things the United States needs from both of our border neighbors. Here's what we're going to do. We don't have any of that. It's just Trump yelling and screaming, and then he gets one little thing. I mean, these people know how to work him. He's having a phone call with Trudeau right now in Canada, and he'll get something. Trudeau's going to give him something. I don't know what it'll be, and he'll say, okay, we're okay with Canada now. Because stock market, the futures this morning were down 500 points before the market opened.
Now we're back to almost even.
because gas prices had gone up like 15%. Things were starting to look bad.
Yeah.
And somebody went to Trump and said, wait a minute, there are already actually negative effects on the United States with these tariffs. What do you want to do?
I wanted to point out how this affects Arizona directly. And Yasmin Ansari, I did say it right the first time. She was on State of the Union, CNN's show, and she said that Trump's tariff plans were outrageous and that Democrats need to do more to show Americans that they're working against the president's agenda. Analysts are saying that Trump's tariff plan will create economic winners and losers in Arizona, generally raising costs for most consumers, that from the Republic. I'm left wondering, Barry, he created it to what you're saying. He created it. He fixed it. He takes credit for it. One of the arguments I would say politically is that the Biden administration did a very poor job of communicating to the American people why they were an effective presidency. So Kamala Harris comes in and they say, Kamala Harris, you where the borders are, the border isn't fixed, fentanyl's coming across the border, you didn't fix that. What in the world happened to your administration other than inflation? And she did a poor job of being able to articulate that and remind people. What Trump does really well is the razzle-dazzle, the showmanship of it all. And there is no doubt that at the end of the year of February, we're going to look back and say, oh, Trump had those tariffs that were threatened. And, oh, they backed down and they did something for him. And to his credit, he'll be able to say to other countries, look, you don't want to mess with me. All I have to do is put out one social media tweet and suddenly you're going to start wishing that I wasn't messing with you anymore. Yeah. I mean, it kind of grows his bully pulpit.
Yeah, but here's the problem. It works temporarily, like when it's like this. And look, by the way, some of the stuff Trump's doing, I'm fine with it. Should we be shutting down the border? Yes. Okay. Should we be finding ways to limit immigration? Absolutely, we should. Illegal immigration. There's a lot here that I'm happy about, but this kind of stuff is just playtime. It's I don't know if you noticed Kristi Noem, who's the new Secretary of Homeland Security.
She got a new wardrobe too.
She's on TV every day in a different costume. Yeah. It's not even wardrobe. One day she's a Border Patrol agent. One day she's an ICE agent. One day she's wearing a cowboy hat. It's like, what are we doing right now? It's just like Barbie show and tell time. And that's what this is with Trump. These are not serious people. Show me what the policy is. Discuss what the policy is and what our long-term effect of this is. And that's not what this is. Why are we using tariffs against our neighbors and our friends? These are our friends, Chris. These aren't enemies. This isn't Iran or North Korea. These are the people that we work with. To make a car in the United States right now, the United States, is a constant back and forth of parts between the United States and Mexico and Canada and back and forth. This sort of thing was going to drive up the cost of an American car sold in the United States by 25%. This is not helpful, but nobody's sitting down and analyzing the effects of what Trump is threatening. Mostly because I'm not even sure he's serious about it. It was just leverage so that he could say, look what I did.
And it's because of what you just mentioned that we had NAFTA 30 years ago in the first place, which was then updated during the first Trump administration, the USMCA, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. And so here we are, and seems that we've torn all of that up. It was funny. We were talking about Kristi Noem, and all I could think of was she's going through the entire wardrobe change of the Village People. All of them. She's a cop. She's an ICE agent.
It's true.
She's going to be
It's amazing.
That's right.
If she puts a little Indian headdress on next, we know
that'll be it. We'll be like, she's going to the YMCA.
Thanks for watching the Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe, and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.